name's Will, and welcome to the Distorted Transmission for today. I'm talking to Steve, the drummer from Bulletbelt. How's it going down in Wellington, man?
It's going pretty good, man. It's probably a little bit better than you guys are up in Auckland. So my condolences to you and all my fellow friends in Auckland. I know it must be getting pretty old by now being in lockdown.
Yeah, I find the longer the lockdown happens, the more I tend to find myself shopping online. I tried to fulfill a lifetime dream a few days ago. I tried to buy a brick of drumsticks, but it seems shops only have 6 pairs maximum. So I got half a brick. So it's half a lifetime dream.
Nice. You don't drink, do you?
Not really. No. Is that what other people do?
A lot of people drink shop online. Like I know a few of my friends down here who have 10 vinyls turning up they never knew were turning up because they ordered them drunk 2 weeks ago, you know?
No, I've just got a shit memory, so the exact same scenario happens, but yeah, I'm straight the whole time. All right, cool. So it's just mono a mono tonight, so could you introduce the rest of the band for us, please?
Yeah, so the current Bulletbelt lineup is myself on drums. We've got Josh, who's our guitarist. We've got Tim, our bass player. He's the second longest serving member, probably been in the band about 7 years now, and I still tell him he's on probation. We have Paul, our vocalist, who's been with us, must be 2.5 years now. And we really are a 4-piece at the moment, but we sort of have a live session guy, and he's going to record with us, but he's a guy called Dan Hastings who's in a band called Clamus. Very good friend of ours, and he's kind of steps in and helps us out. So he's like a part-time member, but, still a part of the team.
He was in Red Dawn with you back when that band was around, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Great guitarist, and he brings recording and engineering skills to the band. A real smart cookie, real technical guy. Shit that the rest of us in the band certainly don't have those skills. So he's a real gear guy, and he's got all recording equipment. So we're hoping to utilize that going forward.
The internet told me that the band's been around since 2009 in various forms. The only constant being you, Steve, is that right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm the Axl Rose of the New Zealand metal scene. I guess I'm the only surviving member. But yeah, it's been that's right. I formed the band with Ross Mellon, 2009. He actually, I live in Karori, which is kind of if you know Wellington, it's up past the university. It's actually a really large suburb, but it's kind of sort of out of the way of Wellington. I knew Ross reasonably well, and I just knew that he lived in the suburb. And I hadn't played drums for a long time. I played them in my 20s and then put them away, got inspired again and bought myself a kit, and I was just looking for someone to jam with. So I knew he was local. We started playing in my lounge, actually, which was probably pretty annoying to my wife. No real plans to start a band or anything. It was just pretty much let's get together and jam. And then, like most good ideas and most bands, that's how it starts, and it just kind of grew from there.
So I guess that means that Bulletbelt is essentially your baby. But who are the primary songwriters in the band? Is it more of a collaboration, or do you sort of heavily influence the sound?
With our current lineup, it's we try to make it a team effort. We're certainly open to everyone's input. Josh, our guitarist, he brings a lot of riffs and ideas. The last album we actually pretty much wrote in the band room. So it was very organic. Like it started with a riff and some ideas. We're in a position where Ross was still in the band at that stage when we started writing Warlords, and he had fallen off his bike and broken his hand on the way to work. So we were kind of 6 months without him being able to play. So we just said, well, let's just play it, practice, and let's get some ideas going. And that's how we kind of wrote the last album. So it starts with an idea. I guess my input really is, I don't play guitar, but I'm like you, I'm your age, Will, and I've been listening to metal as long as you have. The beauty of being a little older and listened to so much music is, I guess, understanding how songs are put together, and that's really where I guess I come into what we do is the structure of the songs and the composition, and throwing ideas at the other guys like, hey, let's do this, and this. So that last album was very much organically written in the band room, whereas the moving forward, the next album, which we're actually starting to work on at the moment, we've actually done a lot of work on, has been quite different because of the COVID situation, and it's been a little more challenging to get together. We've actually had to get better at sharing files and all that kind of stuff, which was pretty foreign to me. Still face-to-face working on songs, but having to improvise and being a little smarter these days and use technology with the world and the shit state that it's in.
I'm in a band called Terraset, and the guitarist lives in Hamilton. So when we're sort of composing songs and such, we don't really get together and jam them. He'll just get like a metronome or like type out this terrible drum beat, and then just like throw some riffs over it, and then he'll send that to me, and then I'll try to turn that into something else. So doing the whole online song creation thing it's actually quite beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually very skeptical about it. Like, Bulletbelt until this stage has very much been about face-to-face in the band room, throwing ideas at each other and bringing the music to life that way. So I wasn't actually sure that this would work, but now we've actually lived with it for 3 or 4 or 5 months. It actually works, and it's actually saved a lot of time, and it's a really good way to do it.
I think I have all of your full albums, namely Cold of the Grave, Rise of the Banshee, 9 Centuries, and Warlords, which was the last one. So you mentioned that you've got something in the pipeline now, like I don't know if you started recording or if you're about to record. Could we talk about your next release? Yeah,
sure. So we actually recorded Warlords in October 2019, which is 2 years ago now.
Right.
So we actually got the thing out July 2020, and we toured New Zealand. We've played a lot of shows. We've been everywhere. Kaitaia, Timaru, Whangarei. That was the goal. It was like, hey, let's try and take, a high quality, awesome kick-ass metal show to a small town. And, as you know, there's pockets of bogans and metalheads in every small town in New Zealand. Getting them to come out and see a live band is another story. That's another challenge. But that was really the goal with that one, was to go to as many places as we could. And we did a lot of driving. There was a lot of planning. Like I kind of planned all those shows. So as you know yourself, you're probably the driving force of your band. It's a lot of time contacting people and all that kind of stuff. And then normally we'd go play Australia. So obviously that's not going to happen. And we'd actually planned about 2 years ago, we started planning to go to Europe. So the goal was to go over to Europe and kind of do a club, just in a van and play clubs, but then try and kind of get ourselves onto, blag ourselves, for a better word, onto some festivals. We might be playing at 1 p.m. on the smaller stage, but that's fine. That was really the goal. But obviously all those plans are out the window. We're like, what are we going to do now? We can't sit around and twiddle our thumbs. So we just said, well, let's start working on the next album. So we've been hard at it for about 4 months now. We've kind of pre-produced all the songs that are going to be album. We've got 10 songs ready to go.
Wow.
So at the moment, we're in the process of, particularly for me, learning to play them, because as I said, we've done it remotely. So now my goal at the moment is fucking get those songs down as tight as I fucking can, because we're going to record the drums first. So I guess we're at the stage where we're just starting to look at where we're going to record it, who we're going to record with. We're just starting to talk to people, but it won't be anywhere in like mid 2022 till we end up getting this thing out. But the ball is very much rolling, and we're all kind of getting excited about it now. Like, we're just trying to write a kick-ass metal album where every song has super hooky choruses, every song gets in your head, every song has blazing guitar solos, all killer, no filler is really the goal on this one. And then if we look around at the scene in New Zealand, which is incredibly healthy at the moment, and there's so many amazing bands doing so many great things, the technical side and the real techie kind of side at the moment is being done so well in New Zealand. We're kind of trying to steer this like way away from that. We want to make a fist banging album that if we do get a chance to go to Europe, we can play these songs live in front of people for the first time and we're going to get their fist banging.
The sort of the more modern tech stuff, it tends to be done by guys in their sort of mid-20s to early 30s, and I find that's kind of their era, and it's kind of their niche, you know. So
Yeah.
to sort of attempt to play that stuff, I'm not too sure if I could quite pull it off to their satisfaction. So
Yeah.
whereas sort of I quite like old death metal stuff like Dismember and Entombed and all that stuff back from the 90s when I was about 20. So I kind of want to bring that forwards and sort of represent that because that's kind of my era, you know. So I suppose Bulletbelt's kind of similar in that way. When I listen to it, it does have a bit of an older sound to it, like more of a sort of a rocky, sort of black thrash metal kind of a sound to it.
Sure.
It definitely has its own sound though, Bulletbelt. It doesn't sound like anything else, which is cool.
I'm the same. I'm your age, and I'm the same. I try and keep up with what's going on, but tech death metal now, it just I try and listen to it, but like you were saying, the bands like Dismember, Entombed, Grave, all those great bands from our era, they were still playing songs. And this is no criticism of what happens in tech death. And I guess sometimes in that style of the tech death now, maybe the song is secondary to the playing. Like I bought the new Blindfolded and Led to the Woods on vinyl. I think it's incredible. And I have great respect for all those bands, but my attention span to listening to it is pretty short. I can only kind of handle it in short doses, and then I'll go back and listen to Obituary or something like that. But I'm old.
Yeah, so it's kind of like ADHD metal now. Everything has to constantly change because everyone's expecting something new. And bands like Bulletbelt, for example, there are changes in the songs, but they're more going into a sort of a catchy chorus or into a little bridge or something. But the main riffs are very well defined and sort of perpetual, if you like. So which is good.
Yeah, and I guess a little bit of it with those modern bands we were talking about is everything's so available to watch and critique. You can jump on YouTube and watch. And I guess, I don't know, but I sometimes wonder if a little bit of their thinking when they're writing their music is outdoing something they saw on YouTube, or thinking I have to make it more techy than that because I don't want to get ripped to pieces on, you know what I mean? It's a much different world we live in.
They're probably approaching the situation in a different way, but I mean, our generation did that too. Everybody started dropping tunings. Like it started out E, then E went into E flat, but then everyone was in D, then it was, I think Carcass came out with B, and then Morbid Angel came out with A, and it was like, just calm down, man, calm down. And then everything got sort of really, really slow and grindy, and then everything just got wickedly fast. So, and techie was the next step. So, I guess everyone's just trying to explore metal as a genre in different ways, and trying to be fresh and interesting.
Yeah, sure.
But there's nothing wrong with being old school and catchy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that either. So, is there anything else you'd like to add at the end?
Yeah, thanks to everyone who's taken an interest in us since 2009, whether they've come to a show, bought a T-shirt, bought a record, because, we are DIY. We've got the band to a situation now where it's paying for itself, so we can actually press vinyl and not lose thousands of dollars, which is good. So, so my heartfelt thanks to anyone that's given a shit about the band in any way, or not like the band, that's fine too, and it's just for me, it's really inspiring to look what's happening in the New Zealand scene at the moment. And being an old dude like you, we can sit back a little and not really be picky and be niche-y, and just appreciate and throw the love out to all the bands, because I respect anyone that's out there that's doing it at the moment. And the scene is extremely healthy, and I would say the healthiest it's ever been.
All right, Steve. Thanks very much for chatting with me tonight, and best of luck with your new album your 10-track album that you're currently working on, and of course the opportunities to play in Europe, etc. Hope that all comes together.
Thanks to you, man, for taking the time and and chatting. It's awesome to see you again.
And thanks everyone for watching. Cheers.